Buffalo Bills. Adhering to the AFL-NFL merger, the Bills were generally mediocre in the 1970s, but featured All-Pro running back O.J. Simpson. After being pushed to the brink of failure at the mid-1980s, the collapse of the United States Football League and a string of highly drafted players like Jim Kelly, who initially played for the USFL instead of the Bills, Thurman Thomas, and Bruce Smith allowed the Bills to rebuild into a perennial contender in the late 1980s. During the mid-1990s, a span where the group won 4 consecutive AFC championships, the team nevertheless lost each 4 subsequent Super Bowls, records in both groups that still stand. The Bills began competitive play in 1960 as a charter member of the Western Football League headed by head coach Buster Ramsey and joined the NFL as a part of the AFL-NFL merger in 1970. Jets. Miami Dolphins. Dolphins and the Jets have been established in 1960 and 1966 respectively, both as members of the American Football League. At the AFC East, the Dolphins and the Jets were placed after the AFL-NFL merger in 1970, promising that they would meet twice per year annually. The rivalry has stayed extreme through the years as both teams are always competitive against one another regardless of what the standings signify. The rivalry also retains a high intensity because of the large amount of New York Jets lovers that retire to South Florida. After the Jets' Super Bowl victory in 1968, the Dolphins began their ascension into the peak of the NFL, culminating back-to-back Super Bowl wins in 1972 and 1973. New England Patriots. Throughout the 1970s, the Patriots had some victory, earning a berth to the playoffs from 1976 just as a crazy card team, and in 1978 since AFC East champions. They dropped both times. Following their Super Bowl loss, they returned into the playoffs in 1986, but dropped in the initial round. The team wouldn't make the playoffs again for 8 years. They changed ownership twice in the ensuing 14 years, being purchased from the Sullivan family first by Victor Kiam in 1988, who sold the team to James Orthwain in 1992. Even though Orthwain's time as owner was short and contentious, he did oversee big modifications to the team, initially using the hiring of former New York Giants trainer Bill Parcells in 1993. See more.